In this section of the course, we take a look at moving from the centre. By moving from the centre, I mean becoming comfortable with initiating movement from the centre of the body, rather than from individual limbs or other body parts. Another way to think about it is to develop a sense of moving globally. In connecting with a sense of global movement, rather than simply local movement, it becomes easier to feel the body as a single unit, rather than simply as distinct moving parts. Being familiar with this sense can be a useful tool, both in moving at single levels and at sequencing between levels. To dive into this, we look at a series of simple exercises using the breath, the centre of the body, and the limbs. In a comfortable standing posture, place the palms of both hands on the lower part of the centre, resting the hands somewhere comfortable beneath the belly button and above the pubic bone. Resting here with eyes closed for some moments, we breathe deeply. Imagine inviting the breath to travel into the belly, toward the warmth of the hands. Feel for the expansion of the belly on the inhale and the softening on the exhale. Here we start to cultivate a simple felt sense of expansiveness and fullness in the lower centre of the body. Next, we leave one hand resting on the front of the centre as before, and bring one hand to a corresponding space at the back of the body. Maintaining equal pressure between the hands, from here we simply rub in a horizontal band across the body. Our intention is to use the contact of the hands to continue drawing our awareness to this area. Think of this as a self-massage to support a feeling of expansiveness. Feel free to find the most comfortable way of applying pressure with the hand behind you, whether that's using the palm of the hand or the back of the hand. We now use a simple pattern of movement to work with the same feeling. The mechanics of this movement are simple. As you inhale, spread the wingspan of the arms as fully as possible, celebrating your full size while continuing to breathe deeply into the centre as before. As the hands meet at the top of the inhale, create a teardrop shape between finger and thumb and allow the hands to fall down the central column of the body as we exhale. Work with your own cycle of breath here. It can be helpful to imagine that the fullness and expansion of the breath at the centre is inflating the structure of the body. Next, we adjust the posture to find a diagonal line between one foot at the front and one foot at the back. In this posture, we find a simple shift of weight forwards toward the front leg, and then backwards toward the back leg. Notice that when the weight is on the front leg, the back leg is extending. When the weight is on the back leg, the front leg is extending. We ensure that the relationship between the angle of the toes and the knees feels aligned and sustainable on both legs, and adjust if necessary. We also aim to keep the pelvis relatively stable in space, travelling at more or less the same height throughout the movement. Once this is comfortable, we bring in another simple orchestration of hands and breath. Using a similar teardrop shape as before, we find the hands at the lower centre of the body. From here, we press toward the front leg with an exhale. We allow the hands to part at the front of the movement, and we inhale on the transfer backwards. Finally, we bring the hands back to centre again for the next round. Exhale and shift forward, inhale and shift backward. Our intention is to use the movement to move with this sense of fullness and expansion at the centre of the body, and also get a feeling for moving the body as one single unit. We repeat this same pattern of movement on both sides, working with an approximately equal number of breaths or repetitions. For our final pattern of movement, we first find a simple transition from standing on extended legs to an open hip squatting movement with the knees bent. Notice again that we look for a sense of the knees working in relationship with the angle of the toes to maintain a healthy alignment of these joints. Here again we work with the sense of breathing and expanding at the centre of the body. Once comfortable, we start our final orchestration of breath, centre and hands. First, we find our teardrop shape directly ahead of us. Next, we bend one leg and allow the hands to follow a diagonal line downwards toward the hips on the side of the bending knee. Arriving at the height of the hips, we transfer the weight from one leg to the other, changing the extended leg to the bending leg and vice versa. With the hands now at the other side of the hips, we simply press the floor to extend the bent leg and allow the hands to follow a diagonal line upwards toward the sky once more. For this movement, find a comfortable cycle of breath that works for you. As before, repeat this same series of movements in the other direction.